Good morning, YouTubers. This here's Brad at Great Western Gardens. It's a beautiful January day out here. The sun's shining. It's a little bit chilly. The breeze is blowing a little bit. But as a whole, it's a nice enough day that I thought it was time to do one of those pruning videos that I've promised for a while. Now, as you've heard me say several times, one of my biggest problems out here is the wind. Hopefully it's not making too much noise there in video. If it is, I'll try to correct that later. But you can see here that pruning to a central leader system, because of that wind, it's just about impossible. You can see here where the trunk goes up, and that leader just starts growing off at about 45-degree angle straight north. That south wind is just consistent and relentless. And you also may remember from last fall, the orchard video that I posted. Another problem that I have is I've got some cedar apple rust, which is a fungus that spends half of its life cycle on cedar trees out here that so many people have planted as windbreaks over the last 100 and 120 years. And then the other half of its life cycle it spends on these apple trees. And while it does not injure the cedar trees in the slightest, other than making this sort of gross, ugly, octopus-looking fungus hanging from the limbs, it will eventually weaken and kill the apple trees. So what I have decided to do, after much deliberation, is turn my biggest weakness into a strength. I'm going to make that wind work for me. And because that is a fungus, moisture is what sort of keeps it on the leaves and helps it to grow and propagate. So what I really need is for these trees to dry out faster. So I'm going to remove that central leader. I'm going to take out this big piece here for starters, and just open that up a little bit more, let that wind blow through and dry out the tree, so that I will not, hopefully, have as big of a problem with the rust. It had been a dry several years out here, that drought that a lot of the country has been suffering from, and kind of started to lessen the effects of that rust. But this last year and a half have been quite a bit wetter, and I started to notice it coming back a little bit this past summer. So hopefully that when these trees start growing again this spring, I won't have so much of an issue. So here I get is the before. I don't have an extra cameraman to show you the cuts that I'm doing, but I will come back when I have done my pruning and show you what it looks like. So with that, bide your time, and I'll be back in a moment. All right, here we are back again. The tree is done, at least to my satisfaction. No, I did do things a little bit different than I had planned on, or that I told you that I was going to do. See, pruning is not a science. It's a subjective art form, and like painting a picture. Now, I'm not saying that I'm any artist by any stretch of the imagination, and I certainly know probably less about pruning than a lot of people. I'm just kind of working with what the good Lord gave me out here. And I thought that initially I was going to take this whole, what had originally been the central leader, I was going to take that clear away. But in looking at the way that it had curved, I thought about just, making that work for me. Instead of trying to fight against it. That's kind of what I'm trying to learn and grow, is making what the good Lord gives me and make that work for me, because He certainly knows better than I do. So instead of taking the whole thing out, I opened up a little bit. So you can see I took this limb out here, and I took out another one over here because it would be shaded out by these two. Now I also took the centerpiece and the largest piece of this out because that opened up these more, and that will fork and continue to grow and open up the tree quite a bit more. You can see I took out the center parts of a lot of these, just trying to get that spread out more. Headed back a few of the longer limbs. Couple of instances, I think what I might wind up doing is taking this out here and tying that down a little bit to a stake. That might help a little bit because that will continue to blow to the north, as you can see. I think that will open up this tree quite a bit more and say let the wind blow through. And I think it's still going to be a pretty nice structure. Right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sort of scaffold branches. I think maybe next winter I may wind up taking out either this one or this one down here. We'll see what the tree looks like. That's the nice thing about pruning, is the tree will continue to grow, and if something doesn't work one year, you can correct it the next. So we'll see. I've got a lot more trees to work on. If I find another one that I think will make a good video, I'll try to share that with you as well. If you have any questions, comments, please post them down below. I always try to respond to everybody. With that, have a good day, and we'll see you next time.